Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing your dumper misses you later. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Subscribe to my weekly support emails. The link is in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing your dumper misses you later. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you will want to know if and when your dumper misses you. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 points to consider about why your ex misses you later. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is consider their position. So as a dumpee, it's very natural to be thinking of ourselves. We've been dumped, we're heartbroken, we can barely see anything positive moving forward, and we consider everything from our perspective. But when we're trying to get an ex back, it's really important to put ourselves in our ex-dumper's shoes. And although that might not be something that you particularly want to do, you don't want to feel sorry for your dumper, you don't want to see things from their point of view, you need to. If you want to get them back, you need to understand the position and mindset of your ex. So point number 1 of today's podcast about why your ex-dumper misses you later is to consider their position, and that is that they have ended the relationship. Now that might sound obvious, but let's really break it down. You and them was in a relationship. The likelihood is, when things were going well, you were both feeling a high level of romantic emotional attraction for one another. Now for various potential reasons, unfortunately, your ex-dumper lost romantic emotional attraction. And when this hit the necessary low point, this is when they ended the relationship. They took action. They decided the relationship was not working for them moving forward. They were not feeling fulfilled. They were not feeling satisfied. They did not believe that going forward, you and them were a good team in a romantic sense. Now, this doesn't mean you can't be again in the future, but it's important to remember this, because at the time of a breakup, your ex-dumper is feeling a very low level of romantic emotional attraction. If it wasn't, if it was still high, they wouldn't have ended the relationship. So with that being said, when we consider about our ex-dumper missing us later, this is because they certainly won't be missing us at the time of the breakup, because they're not feeling enough attraction for us. So when dumpees ask me, does my ex miss me? Are they thinking about me? Do they want me back? If you are asking me this as a dumpee and you were dumped a few weeks ago, a month ago, the likelihood is your ex-dumper is not missing you at this stage. Now, it doesn't mean they can't miss you in the future, but we have to consider they've decided to end the relationship because they did not believe it was working for them. So if they believe it's not working for them, why would they miss you in the early days, weeks, or maybe even months post-breakup? They're not likely to miss you because they've decided they needed to experience life outside of your connection. Now, don't get me wrong, the early days of a breakup are very confusing. Feelings are muddled, even for your ex-dumper. Things are not as clear-cut. They may have had an idea of what life would be like post-breakup. That's why they've decided to take that leap of faith. But they can't actually experience those feelings until those feelings are being experienced. They need to actually live that life before they fully understand it. So the feelings will be mixed, they will be muddled, and there will be some level of wondering about you and potentially missing certain things about your connection, the routines you would have had, the things you would have done together, the moments of the day which are now very, very different. Certainly, in the early days and weeks post-breakup, your ex-dumper is definitely going to be feeling this difference, and this could lead to a level of missing you. But when you are listening to today's podcast, you're not asking me about a little bit of missing you. You're not asking me about whether they think about me a tiny little bit. You're wondering whether or not your ex-dumper is wanting to reconnect with you. So that's what we're talking about today. We're not talking about them pondering about you. We're not talking about them considering you. We're not talking about them just having you flash through their mind. We're not speaking about your ex-dumper feeling that their routine feels very different. No, what you're asking me is whether or not they are ready to come back. And most of the time, a dumper will not be ready to come back in the very early days or weeks or maybe even months post-breakup. Now listen, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule. There are always going to be those people who reconnect very soon after their breakup. But I would argue, was that really an official breakup? Was it more of just having a little time apart? Was the breakup really signed, sealed and delivered? Had the dust really settled? Because most of the time, once those things have taken place, you're looking at 6 months or beyond before the likelihood of your ex-dumper really feeling that they are missing you and considering reconnection. Now, sadly, not all of you will get your ex back, but those of you who do, the likelihood is it will be way into the future. So this is why we have to consider your ex-dumper's position. Yes, their early feelings are muddled, but the likelihood is they're not going to be missing you during those early days, weeks, or maybe even months, because their position is they didn't feel you were right for one another. That is how they feel in the moment. It could change, but that is how they feel at the time. So if they feel that way, why would they miss you? Okay, it makes sense when you think of it logically, but obviously going through a breakup, logical thinking is not what is going to be happening. So bear that in mind and consider their position. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you have the new hype feature, please hype this video as well. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is they can't miss something which is there. So now we're considering another important point connected to why your ex-dumper will likely miss you later. And that is, they can't miss something which is there. And the reason I'm saying which is there is because most dumpees post-breakup are going to go through a period of chasing their ex. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, I still chase my ex years down the line. Okay, now that is not going to be a very positive outlook for you if you are living your life like that years down the line. So please, if that is you, I would suggest you do need some level of support to try and break that cycle. But we're considering early days and weeks, maybe months post-breakup. And the fact is that if you are chasing your ex, you are in the majority. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's something I suggest you do. But most dumpees will be chasing their ex, certainly, in those early days and weeks. Now, if you are chasing your ex, we're not literally saying you're physically chasing them, or I hope not, because that could get you in a lot of trouble. But maybe you are just appearing out of nowhere, knocking on their door, waiting outside where they work. That's not going to help you. That's not healthy. That's not right. That's probably not even legal. Okay? So you shouldn't be bothering your ex in that way. But no, we're not just talking about the physical. We're talking about the calls. We're talking about the texts. Okay? Messaging apps are the most likely way that you will be chasing your dumper. So if you are texting your ex, even if you think, well, I'm not really chasing them, I only send a message once a month, okay, that is still counting as chasing your ex if they've said it's over. If they've ended your relationship, you've said your piece, they've still maintained they want to break things off, and you are still texting them once a month, that is still chasing them. You are not taking no for an answer. It's not good. You need to stop. And one of the reasons, along with, of course, the lack of respect that it's showing your ex because you're not respecting their decision, is the fact that if you want them back, they can't miss you if you are there. You need your ex-dumper to change their mindset. Remember in point number 1, we were saying about how they're feeling a very low level of romantic emotional attraction for you. We need to raise that level. Do you really think it's going to improve your chances if you are annoying your ex? If you're texting them every day, you're going to be really frustrating them. If you're texting them every week, you're going to be bothering them. If you're texting them once a month, you're going to be frustrating them, not necessarily to the same degree as every week or every day, but certainly it's going to be annoying them. That isn't good. It's not going to allow them to miss you. They are going to be able to set their watch to the fact, okay, it's the first of the month. I know my dumpee is going to text me soon. Okay? You don't want your dumper to know you that well that they can predict your every move. They can't feel your absence if they know you're going to reach out. So when we're considering about why your ex-dumper is likely to miss you later, we have to consider it's because most dumpees are chasing their dumper during those early days, weeks, or maybe even months, or sadly, sometimes even beyond that. They won't change their mind if you're bothering them. If that level of attraction is low and you are decreasing it rather than increasing it, do you really think they're going to want to come back to you? Okay, they're not. You need to live your life in the right way. Focus on you, not them. And if you feel you need professional support to stop chasing your ex, then this is the time to seek it, because not only is it decreasing the chance of getting your ex back, it is increasing the chance of you getting in very serious trouble. Because if you annoy your ex to the point where they feel concerned for their own safety, or maybe for yours as well, they would probably go to the stage of blocking you. And if they still feel concerned, this is when they will likely contact the authorities. And unfortunately, I've heard of this time and time again where dumpers have taken that step. So don't think to yourself, well, my ex would never call the authorities. They would never call the police. Yes, they might. If they feel you are bothering them, if they feel that you don't listen to them, you are not taking no for an answer, unfortunately, we have to start saying the word that nobody wants to hear. Stalking. Okay? You do not want to be a stalker. And you might think, well, I would never be a stalker. But if you're behaving in that way, you are getting very, very close to what could be deemed as that. So be very, very careful on this. But additionally, more connected to today's podcast, if you want them to miss you, they have to feel your absence. And they can't feel your absence if you keep contacting them. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website, www.dateme.tips, for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is they need to get it out of their system. So today we're speaking about your dumper misses you later. And a very important reason for this is because they need to get out of their system the life they felt they needed to live away from you. So remember in point number 1, we were saying about how your ex-dumper lost romantic emotional attraction, decided, but you two are not working together in a romantic sense. Okay? This is when they come to the conclusion they need to action the breakup and live their own life. Now I refer this as the single honeymoon period, and it tends to last 6 to 12 months on average, a period of time where a dumper will live their life the way that they imagine it to be post-breakup. Now, contrary to popular belief, this is not likely to be with a new partner. Now, don't get me wrong, unfortunately, sometimes an ex will monkey branch straight into a new relationship. We might also refer to this as a rebound relationship, especially if they meet someone new a few days, weeks, or months post-breakup. Now, the good news is any relationship that your ex-dumper has within the first year or so post-breakup is not likely to last. The likelihood is any new connection they have will burn out as quickly as it began. So let's put that to one side. We can't say for definite that your ex isn't going to get in a relationship with someone new, but the likelihood is they won't, and even if they do, it's not likely to last that long. What we're focusing on more so in point number 3 is when wanting to live a life that they felt they couldn't with you in the connection. Now maybe this is something such as they always wanted to go travelling and you didn't. So now they're going to go travelling. They're going to go travelling around the world for 9 months. This is where you can't connect with them, of course, because they're away from you. But ironically, it actually helps your cause because it allows the space to grow, but we was mentioning in point number 2, which is necessary. And this space can develop into a scenario where your ex-dumper begins to miss you. Again, we're talking about them missing you later. We're not talking about them missing you days, weeks, early months. We're talking 9 months theoretically in this idea. Now your dumper doesn't have to go travelling for this to be the case. They will still have to go through their own single honeymoon period. Like I said, it lasts generally 6 to 12 months. Maybe they want to go to nightclubs. They want to go to parties. They start doing this every single weekend, whereas with you, they didn't because you were a couple. It's just not what you did. But maybe they felt that they were missing out on something. And that is that feeling that is going to push them to try these new things. Now, although it might sound scary, dumpies, what you have to recognise is that everything they are doing will lose its shine eventually. Whether they are spending time with friends they are reconnecting with, maybe they made new friends, whether it's hobbies they used to do and doing again, maybe it's new activities. Whatever it may be, eventually what is new feels old. What is shiny starts to feel a little boring, okay? That is what happens when we do things repetitively. Remember the saying, everything in moderation. If we do anything extensively and excessively, this is likely to lose its shine and appeal. And this is what will happen to your ex-dumper. They'll be living their life in a way which is very different to when you two were together, but 6-12 months down the line, it's not likely to be as wonderful in their mind as it did initially. And this is when they hit the crossroads. The crossroads of whether or not they feel they made a mistake in ending your relationship. Did you chase them? Did you bother them? Did you annoy them to a point when they get to the crossroads, they think, you know what, I made the right choice. Yes, this new life I'm living isn't all that exciting now, but I still made the right choice because my dumpee has been really frustrating me post-breakup and I just can't ever see going back to them. Okay, if you chase them, that is the decision they will probably come to. However, if you live your life the right way, if you use the hints, tips and advice that I give in my other podcasts, or the individual unique advice I can speak with you about via my audio coaching service, you will increase the chance of when your dumper gets to the crossroads to, instead of thinking, yeah, I made the right decision, to thinking, actually, I've made a really bad choice here. I am missing my dumpee. That is what you want them to be thinking. And they can't miss you earlier on for all of the points we spoke of today. Remember, point number 3 specifically is they need to live some life without you. That is how that space can grow. That is how they can see, okay, I'm living this without my dumpee, but guess what? 6-12 months down the line, it's not really all that great. I'm kind of missing my dumpee. They haven't bothered me post-breakup, and now I'm looking back and thinking, I actually wish I was with them. That is what you need to be doing to increase your chance of success, dumpies. You need them to get it out of their system, whatever it is they want to do, and then to look back with regret. Now, if you live in the USA and want to support my channel, please consider shopping at Calvin Klein using the affiliate link in the description. Calvin Klein is a fantastic brand to help both men and women look great and feel confident. As a Calvin Klein affiliate, I may earn a commission if you make a purchase at no extra cost to you. Thank you for your support.